Dear friends, I am Father Mandra and I warmly welcome you to Bodhini, the Neural Chapel, also known as BNC, a sacred space where the eternal teachings of Jesus meet the quiet brilliance of neuroscience. Today, we continue with the second movement of meditation found in the prayer of the tax collector from Luke chapter 18, verse 13. The tax collector would not even look up to heaven. At first, this might seem like guilt or shame, but as we explored in our last session, it was not shame, it was safety. This was a physiological gesture, not psychological burden. The tax collector was not hiding. He was at home. His lowered gaze was not a collapse. He perceived no threat, felt relaxed, and experienced safety. This is the same safe state that allows us to sleep or meditate deeply. Let's now explore the science behind this. We will look at how our eyes and brain work together in prayer or meditation, and how this parable reveals a powerful truth about consciousness. Every moment our eyes are open, our brain processes visual information, not passively, but through two distinct systems called the visual streams, the dorsal stream and the ventral stream. Let's begin with the dorsal stream, also known as the where or how pathway. When we feel unsafe physically, emotionally, or socially, our brain activates defensive systems. Our eyes lift, scan, and analyze. This is driven by the dorsal stream, a fast visual system meant for external orientation and protection. This pathway begins in the occipital lobe, the eye of the brain, where visual data first lands. From there, it moves upward to the parietal lobe, where that data is translated into spatial awareness and motion. The dorsal stream is fast. It tells the brain, where is this object? How do we respond to it? It is active when we are crossing the street or reaching for a phone. It orients us, protects us, and helps us act. Now consider the Pharisee in Jesus' parable. He stands tall. He lifts his eyes. He scans the temple. This is dorsal mode in action. External, alert, reactive. His nervous system likely sits in sympathetic arousal, where prayer becomes a performance. I thank you, God, that I am not like other men. His focus is special. He is positioning himself in relation to others. But the true prayer does not begin with positioning. It begins with the presence. Now let's consider the other pathway, one that invites stillness, reflection, and interiority. The ventral stream, also known as the what pathway, travels downward from the occipital lobe into the temporal lobe, located just above the ears, beneath the temples. This system allows us to recognize faces, perceive emotions, assign meaning to what we see. The ventral stream supports reflection. It slows us down. It does not ask, where is this object? It asks, what is this? And what does it mean? It is active when we recognize a loved one, contemplate a painting, or sit in quiet stillness. This is not about action. It is about meaning. When the tax collector lowered his gaze, something shifted. What exactly changed in his body and brain? Let's take a closer look. Here is a deeper insight. Our gaze direction influences which of these visual systems becomes dominant. Now, simply looking up or down does not automatically activate the dorsal or ventral stream. It depends on the task and the state of attention. But gaze can indicate which network we are engaging. When we look outward with alert focus, especially in spatial or goal-directed task, we activate the dorsal stream. This often produces beta brain waves linked to activity, problem solving, and performance. But when we lower our gaze, soften it, or close our eyes, we engage the ventral stream. This shift supports alpha waves activity associated with calm, meditation, and self-awareness. This is not a metaphor. It is a neurophysiological event. The body shifts into a new mode of being. At this point, it is important to introduce a key concept: neuroception. Unlike perception, which is conscious, what we see, interpret, or evaluate, neuroception is subconscious. It happens below awareness, deep in the brainstem and autonomic nervous system. It is the body's way of determining, am I safe or not? And here lies the brilliance of the tax collector's gesture. By lowering his eyes, he was not expressing shame. He was signaling neuroceptive safety, a state where the nervous system no longer needs to protect itself. He stopped scanning. He stopped comparing. He entered presence. Dear friends, to understand this, let's reflect on two real-life scenarios. In the first, you go up a mountain to meditate, quiet, serene, but suddenly a roar or a hiss break the silence. The body tenses, the eyes open, stillness vanishes. In the second, you enter a quiet meditation hall. There is no dramatic moment, but the body relaxes, the breath slows, the gaze softens. meditation deepens. What does this show us? It is not silence that opens the door to prayer. It is safety. The tax collector didn't need sacred objects or polished words. He simply needed to feel safe enough to stop performing. And he found that safety, not through control, but through release. Dear friends, by lowering his gaze, the tax collector entered what we might call the inner chapel, the sacred space where striving ends and surrender begins. This was not a collapse, it was clarity. He was not trying to impress God. He was allowing his nervous system to rest. His posture said to his brain, I am not in danger. I don't have to defend. I am safe now. Dear friends, when the body senses threat, it enters fight or flight, sympathetic arousal, or freezes or shut down, dorsal vagal collapse. But when the body senses safety, to the tone of voice, gentle presence, calm surroundings, it shifts into the ventral vagal state, allowing calm breathing, soft gaze or closed eyes, alpha and theta brainwaves activity, connection, prayer and meditation. And when that message is received, something opens. The soul begins to speak. And dear friends, prayer does not begin with words. It begins with permission. And true vulnerability only emerges when we feel safe enough to let go. Dear friends, let's draw it all together. The direction of our gaze shapes our consciousness. Looking upward often signals performance, control, or self-presentation. Looking downward invites stillness, surrender, and inner awareness. The tax collector did not lift his eyes. At first glance, this may seem like shame, but through the lens of neuroscience and contemplative practice, a deeper truth is revealed. He was not avoiding God. He was finally at home. Home in his body, home in stillness, home in God. To lower the gaze or close the eyes is one of the clearest signs that the nervous system feels safe. In that moment, the tax collector's posture reveals something sacred. He is no longer performing. He is no longer scanning for spiritual validation or comparison. This was not a technique. It was a neural shift from comparison to contemplation, from doing to being, from striving to surrender. Dear friends, in our next session, we will explore the next phase of this inner gaze. How not looking up to heaven opens the door to introspection and transformation. Dear friends, until then, thank you for joining us. This is Bodhini, the Neural Chapel. And as always, stay soft, stay present, and let your gaze lead you home. Thank you.